Alright guys, so let's flip this over and I'll show you how you undo it. So as you might see, I already have the feed off because before I started this video, I actually undid it and then I was like, you know what, I can make a video of this. So there are a screw in here, screw in here. There's nothing in the back here, but there's a screw in this hole on this side and the opposite side there. And then you flip it over, there's a screw hole here underneath this sticker and one on this side. So I'm going to lay it here like this. And I'll put circles around where the screws are at. And then we're just going to open it up. So opening it up is not that hard. I'm going to flip it back around this side. And we are just going to take it from the back end. And it has a little clip here, like so. Now I'm trying to do this between this and that. Now, holy crappers. Yeah, let me zoom in on this, guys, and you're going to see how much dust this is. Alright, guys, as you can see when you get a little bit closer how much dirt this is. Now, remember, this was my little sister's console, and even the panel inside's dirty. The control panel, not so much. It actually had plastic on it. There's a little dust here. We're going to take care of it, though. So, I don't know. I'm going to take this all out of here. And basically what you're going to do that is remove 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 screws out of this thing, and the whole motherboard will lift up. So yeah, I'm going to have to do this probably off camera because I don't have enough space, but basically I think your main screwdriver here, I'm trying to see it as I'm doing this and it's really hard, but should. Yeah, it fits. So basically, the same screwdriver that fitted the main top lid will fit these screws too. Just keep them in order. Don't lose them, or you're going to have problems putting them back together, I'm pretty sure. So we're going to take it all apart, and I'm going to do a time lapse on this thing, because this thing is boring at this point, so let's have fun. Time lapse. Okay, fun little fact, guys. These two screws on each side here are different sizes, so I will get this board out, and we're going to look at it as soon as I pull it out. Be right back. Okay, now we got it outside the console. Let's take a look at the bottom shell. It is dirty, dusty, icky. I'm going to put these in the Dawn soap water in a little bit. I'm not going to show that to you guys. You know how to do it. Use a sponge, Dawn soap, hot water, clean the plastic. There's a few notes I want to give you. When you take the motherboard apart, these little switches here will come apart on you, the little plastic, so make sure you don't lose those. Screws always good in a container like this. I might have had one move on me somewhere, but oh well. Let's take a look at the board here. The board itself is dirty, dusty. The case is dirty, dusty. The top shell is also nasty, needs to be cleaned. I might pop off I might pop off the buttons, maybe not. I don't know yet. So when you're taking this apart, there's a few places I want to show you. There are screws on the side here that you need to take apart. These two do not come apart, and be very careful. Everything is kind of like super glued together. As you can see, that's kind of bad. It's super glued there. So I'm shaking my camera a little bit. But see how dusty it is? Now, like I said, this just sat in a bedroom for 3 years with cartridges stuck in it. Nothing else, just cartridges. So let's start cleaning this thing. And yeah, we're going to use our toothbrush and our rubbing alcohol, and we're going to get started. Let's go. Let's zoom in here just a little bit. There we go. So we're going to start up here so you guys can see. And yeah, all I'm going to do is take the rubbing alcohol and the toothbrush lightly, not too heavy. But as you can see, everything's coming off of there, nice and easy. Could I use compressed air? Of course you can, but you want to be careful about that too. Okay. Now, I'm not going to really worry about the cartridge slots too much because there was games in them and they actually look not too bad. But you want to get all that dust off of here. And you got to be careful because there are wires here. So make sure not to get that. Now, this is the easy part. This right here. But if you leave this dust on here, guys, sooner or later these capacitors and resistors will overheat and fail. And I think that's what happened to my original Retron 3 that I had for a few years. It finally failed. It stopped working. And that's why I bought the Retron 5. And I'm actually happy I did that because the Retron 5 works a hell of a lot better. Yeah, I have no problems with that console. Okay, so you just keep on going. You can actually get inside the cartridge slots too if you want this way. I'm going to show you the rubbing alcohol container I'm using real fast after I'm done with this. Now, you just want this to sit and dry, okay? You do not want to put this back in yet. You got all these little components. Now, this is the first time I've actually opened a console. Now, again, I just realized something. Because this is super glue and I'm using rubbing alcohol, this might actually come apart and I might have to solder it back on myself. We'll see what happens. But you want to get everything clean. Let's look at the bottom half. And let's see what the bottom half looks like. Oh, yeah. See? Again, guys, it's just been sitting here. Nothing special. It has not been, refurbished from a company or anything. This is my sister's personal, super retro trio from years ago. And as you see here, you got the little blob top system on a chip. But you just really want to clean everything. I mean, you don't have to go this far with it, the backside, but those connections, but you want to make sure it all dries, okay? Something you can do, if you want, for the bottom half, is actually just tap this dry. I know you're asking, what was the Q-tips for? Well, the Q-tips originally were for the ports here, so you can get the ports cleaned if they're dirty. Because you don't want anything. Sorry, I'm already been off camera. So you just get them like that. Hit them up. Yeah. So there we go. So this board is pretty much done. Make sure you want your area nice and clean too. You see all that dust? That all came from the console. Okay. So the controller ports. Same thing, and you want to be careful about the board, okay? So the controller ports, same thing. If you see, I do not like how this is built. Look at all that super glue, guys. Man, people like Voltar would be pissed about that. He always says if they are built like that, that means they don't know how to solder, or they're too scared, or they're not confident in their soldering. And I absolutely agree with him. Now, this is another way that dust can get in the console, is by these controller ports. Now, again, I'm just going to let all of this sit and dry. But I can see a different angle now and see how it looks. And we can see that chips itself is still dirty. And I know somebody might be in the comments like, well, there's a better way of cleaning it, But honestly, I'm happy with this way. This way is not bad, and I'm way out of focus. Sorry, guys. But this way is not bad. Let me see if I can zoom out. There we go. Normally, I would edit this out, but I don't know, maybe. Because this is a cleaning tutorial. It's not a toy review or game review. So, I don't know. I think it's kind of fun now. Does the switch need to be cleaned? No, it feels good. It feels good. Clicks all. Doesn't look like there's anything inside now. Guys, I'm going to put this down on paper towel real fast. See, it is steady. It's not going to break. But you need to there. And now I want to show you. That came off of this motherboard. That is disgusting, guys. Now, a really quick tip. See this dust down here? You can also just do this and it'll come off too. If you don't want to use Dawn dish soap or anything like that to clean your consoles, that's understandable. You can just clean everything off this way. Okay, it does work to a point. Like this stuff's really good. This stuff's really gooped on. So, anyways, guys, I'm gonna throw this stuff, this plastic stuff, in some dish soap, and when it's done, we'll reassemble this thing. I'll be right back. All right, guys. So now I got it clean. Now you can actually just dry with a towel if you want, or you can let it air dry, up to you. I'll probably let this air dry for a little bit longer, but make sure you don't lose your feet like I almost did. Okay, so if these feet don't stick, guess what? I have some sticky stuff that I use for plastics. So like this one still stick, but yeah, just dry your shells off really nice. This one looks like brand new now. This one over here looks brand new, and I'm happy the way this came out. I mean, yeah, you know, the system dies like an $80 system, I think now. Not too bad. And then this piece, you saw this piece earlier, and now look how it looks. It looks brand new, brand new. Just a little Dawn dish soap and some hot water and a sponge, and that's all it took. Now, if this was like a Super Nintendo or something that was just colored, well, that's a whole different situation. So we're gonna set this aside and let things air dry a little bit longer, and then we'll get back to this reassembly. So on this motherboard, there's actually two red buttons. One's thicker than the other one. You gotta have them on before putting them back into the machine, and then we're gonna line it up. We're gonna turn them this way so I can see what I'm doing. This is my first time ever working on one of these things. I'm used to actual Super Nintendos and NESs. I'm gonna move the screws over here. Stuff that actually has, you know, ribbon cables that come apart. Okay, I got one side in. Just this top side that's having trouble going in. Oh, did I get it? Did I get it? I think I did. Everything's lined up inside. See that? You just gotta be gentle and careful and be patient. And then just to make sure, I just want to make sure everything's lined up properly. To do so, just put the board back into its little proper slots, like so. Everything looks good on this end and that end. So everything's lined up. And when you put the screws in it, it's going to actually stay in place. So now I did a boo-boo. I mixed all the screws together. So now I got to dump them out and look for the screws that go in there. Remember, these two with the specialized screws, they just had the like washers on them kind of thing. So that's easy to find. And these little ones, I actually had to take this screwdriver. So let's put this back together, shall we? I'm going to turn the console this way for a minute. And I'm actually going to start with these two screws, the ones that have rivets in it. Okay, see, that's not good. It didn't line up. So what happened? So as I noticed, the board did not line up properly. So when that happens, you just adjust it. So you do not want these screw holes in the wrong spot. You don't want to mess up the board at all by putting new threads in it. I know it's always good to go backwards first before going forward. Remember, if you feel any resistance when you're doing this, stop, take the screw out, and try it again. Or you might break one of the posts inside. So I'm going to put all these screws back in, and then we'll go from there. Okay, real fast, guys. This is really not too bad. Basically, if this isn't pushed up all the way, you're not going to get your line up perfect. See, the screw just lined up the screw hole. So just remember, I think this is the best way to do it. Start with these two screws first to line them up. And then everything else should line up just fine after that. We'll see. See if I'm telling the truth or not. But we're going to time lapse this. Hopefully I don't run out of battery or space. So remember also, these longer screws, these longer ones, go to the cartridge slots. So I should have a total of 4 of them at least. And it looks like I do. So like this cartridge slot back here would take the long ones. And again, this one might be a little tricky too, because you gotta Make sure you're all lined up inside there. Because this one's a floating board. This board floats. So again, screw it out, wait for the pop, and screw it down. Just make sure you're actually in the hole, okay? So if you're not, you're going to break the post or you're going to re-thread the threads, and you don't want to do that. So I was right. Everything else does lined up pretty well. Alright. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date. Everything we do. So when you put this back together, make sure you have the washing screw right there and right there. Those two are important. Make sure this board is not bowing, because if you tighten these down too much, it might bow this way and you're breaking in the connections. Also, when you get this board on, make sure that these are sliding properly. If they're not, that means you have the board in crooked. So yeah, this looks freshly brand new. And now we're going to put in the rest of the screws here. I think I have 6 left, so let's get going. Okay, so there is a screw hole right there. And I don't know how the heck I actually got that out, but we're going to try to get it back in. Is it important to get it back in? Probably not, but we're going to try anyways. Because this thing's going to go in at an angle. I don't like that, but we're doing it. We're doing it. But I'm not going to tighten it down all the way, because I know how hard it is to get out. And I know that might be like, well, why? You're never going to open this again? Well, you never know. I might. So that is a complete put back together retro trio, super retro trio. Now we're going to put the door on it and the top shell on it. So let me go grab those pieces and we'll put it back together. So now that we got it back together, let's put this top shell on. As you see, it's a little wet, but it's okay, it'll dry. So we're going to move the switch to the bottom position. Let's do the top position. So we're going to move that switch to the top, this switch to the top. Now we're going to just line this up here, and it's going to slide right in. At least it should. There we go. Now you know it's all slid in when it looks perfect, like this and like this. Okay, so and then the switch, just the switch, make sure the switch is working. And then the reset button, yeah, it feels like it's good. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put the screws back in the bottom half. And then this is going to get a little tricky, because you can actually use, I'm going to use this screwdriver because it's longer. And I actually put the screws for that on my little headset, my headphone, because I thought it's a safe spot to put them in. And it is. And I totally forgot that I put them in there, and I started freaking out earlier. So again, listen for that click on it. And you need a really long screwdriver for this. Don't be fooled just because the screwdriver is meant for a electronics doesn't mean it's going to fit. This one is not meant for electronics, but it does work. And again, find that hole, listen for the click. I don't know if you can hear it or not, but we're going to see if I can make it click for you guys so you can hear it. So one more time. We're going to do this one. You hear that? And this one. Now, if you're asking what this hole is about, I've never taken one of these apart. I personally could not find any instructions on it, and so I thought there might have been a screw right there, but there wasn't. So the next thing you do is you take these rubber feet and you just put them over the screw holes, like so. And this one, it got sticky again, so that's good, like so. And you have a complete Super Retro Trio 3. Now we're going to let this dry a little bit more for the top shell, but Everything now looks brand new, nice and shiny, as you can see. Smells brand new, does not smell like it's out of China no more, and yeah. Alright guys, we're gonna try the system now that I've cleaned it and refurbished it. So let's put it on Mario and Duck Hunt and let's see what happens. Well, that's kind of odd. I don't know why I went straight to Duck Hunt, but it did. But there we go. We got some Mario Brothers going on here. Oh, wow. Composite looks horrible. But the game's playing, the controller's working. So let's move on to the next game, shall we? Okay, Mario All-Stars is in, so let's put it on the Super Nintendo button. There we go, Super Mario All-Stars is working. How does it look? Well, it looks a hell of a lot better than the NES side. So we're just going to play Mario again. I think it's just fun to do. So the 16-bit stuff looks good. The NES was just horrible looking. But again, this is just the original Super Retro Trio, not the HD one. Wow, I can see all sorts of things on this thing. So anyways, this is working. So far 2 out of 2. Let's try the Sega Genesis now, shall we? So let's turn that off. Put the Sega game in. And see what happens. You know what, guys? I'll be right back with one of my games. This right here isn't working. I don't know why, but Echoes isn't working. I'll be right back. Okay, guys, I put Ultra Beast in my game. And it comes on. Look at that. Comes on. Sounds good. Doesn't look like it has any problems playing. So, looks like we have a working system. But what I'm kind of curious about is the regular Nintendo. So let's go back to that one. So I'll flip it off. Up to the Super Nintendo one. You can see all the lines and stuff on this thing. I don't know if it's something wrong with the Super Nintendo or the original Nintendo itself, but it doesn't look good. Let's go up to the Super Nintendo one again. There we go. An Ultra Beast. And then the regular Nintendo. So there you guys go. It is working. This is the controller I was using. It comes with this controller. Actually, I think it came with 2, but I only found 1 over at my sister's house. But everything looks perfect. I mean, it's flawless now. Only game that wasn't working that I fixed was Echo. Now, I don't remember if this game was working or not, if she said, but this game wasn't working. But when I got Ultra Beast in, it worked just fine. So, yeah, I don't know. And then my Super Nintendo one works, and everything's working besides Echo. But it could just be a dirty cartridge. It could have a power issue, like, you know, a resistor or something. But thanks for watching. I'll catch you in my next video. Peace.